Hello, I want to show you a great recipe. It's called Torta di sette vasetti, which basically means a cake with 7 pots, and it's quite a common kind of cake in Italy. You can use it for sweet or savoury. I'm going to do a savoury one today because there's lots of snacking going on in my house. I don't know if there is in yours. So I just think it's better to go savoury with this. And the vasetti, the pot, is a yogurt pot. So you start with your yogurt pot with natural yogurt in it, and then you go from there, and it's basically 7 pots of different ingredients. I like to do mine in a bundt type pan because it just looks prettier, but any kind of pan will do, any kind of cake tin. An 8-inch one is quite good for this if you haven't got a bundt pan. I've oiled this with vegetable oil, and then I'm just going to put loads of flour on it because these things do stick. For our savoury cake, it's kind of like, I suppose it's like a savoury muffin, that type of thing. You need a yogurt pot. Now I always buy my yogurt in really big tubs like this because we use quite a lot of it. So I didn't have any small yogurt pots, but I do have this French yogurt pot that I couldn't throw away because it's so pretty. And I've measured it out, and it's 150 ml. So if you haven't got a yogurt pot, you can kind of do it by millilitres. I'm going to use this as my measure. So I've measured out a pot of Greek yogurt and I've put it into my mixing bowl. And then we're going to need 3 pots of flour. But actually it's quite nice to mix it up, and also these times when it's hard to find flour, it's quite good to kind of use something else as well. I'm going to use 2 pots of self-raising flour and 1 pot of semolina. You could use corn flour, you could use rice flour, and by using a different type of flour, it kind of gives the cake a little bit more of a crumbly feel rather than a cakey feel, which is quite nice when it's savoury. We're going to have a pot of milk, a pot of oil. I've got a mild olive oil here, any type of oil. I've got 3 eggs. We're going to need a pot of Parmesan cheese, so I've grated that up and then I'll measure it out. And then you want your kind of bits and pieces that you want to add to this cake. So I've had a look in my fridge. I've got some beautiful Douai Farm Jersey goat's cheese, which is amazing. So I've crumbled that up. I've got a bit of mozzarella, grated mozzarella that I had left over from my aubergine parmigiana at the weekend. I've got some spring onions that I've chopped up, and I've got some leftover broccoli from yesterday that's cooked, and I've chopped that up too. So it's up to you. You can put whatever you like. You can put ham in it. You can put some cooked bacon. You can put smoked salmon in it. So whatever you like, you can try different combinations. So, I've got my pot of yogurt in here. I'm going to add my 3 pots of flour. So I'm using my yogurt pot to measure this out. So if you are using a yogurt pot from the supermarket, then just empty out the yogurt and then wash it out. So that's semolina. Parmesan cheese. So a pot of some kind of mild oil. Of milk. Okay, I've just cleared the decks a bit. So if you are using 3 pots of self-raising flour, you don't need to add any baking powder. But because I've used 1 of semolina, 2 of self-raising flour, I'm just going to put in about 1/3 of a teaspoon of baking powder just to help with the lift a little bit. Then I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt, not too much because we've got the Parmesan cheese in there. I've got my 3 eggs that I'm going to beat up. Then I'm just going to add my little bits and pieces. Mozzarella, spring onion. So this is another one of those dishes where you can just use bits that you've got in the fridge that you want to use up. So I've got my oven warming at 180 degrees. I'm going to pour this into my tin and just pray that it doesn't stick. Okay, so that's going to go in the oven, 180 degrees for 40 minutes. But have a look after 30, and if it's just getting a little bit too brown on top, then pop some parchment paper or foil over the top to stop it browning. This has had 35 minutes and I've poked it with a skewer and it's come out clean, so it's perfect. It smells incredible, honestly, it's so good, and it's such a lovely thing to have in the house. So that instead of snacking on sweet things, you've got something else that's got some good stuff in it. So I'm going to take this out of the tin and then show you what it looks like. So here it is. You can slice it up, eat it just as it comes, or you can spread it with a little bit of butter or cream cheese, and it's really nice toasted too.